Hi everyone. I am getting ready for this Facebook Live here, and hopefully I can see who's chiming in. First time using this specific phone. Okay, I see one person is on. Hello, two people. Very good. So I'm just going to give everyone a few moments before we get started on our Hiking 101 video. And I'm excited to share a lot of different information that can help you. Hi, I'm Grace from Tucson. Hey, let me know where you guys are joining from. I would love to see where you guys are joining from. So it is 5 o'clock. I'm going to give everyone just a few moments. So while we get started, let me know where you're chiming in from, and are the trails near you closed? Let me know. Hey, Gordon, how's it going? So let me know, are your trails closed? Are they open? Here in Orange County, I don't think they're closed yet, but they've been closed because of the weather. And in Los Angeles, the trails are closed. So what we decided to do was we wanted you guys to have some classes while the trails might be closed, and also to help educate you. Hi, Ola. So anyhow, it's 5:01. I told everyone we're going to wait just a few moments. But in your comments, let me know where you're chiming in from, where you're visiting from. And let me know if the trails are open. Would love to see how many people are still able to hike versus not. So someone is chiming in. Nicole is chiming in from New York. Trails are still open. Pittsburgh, yay, nice. Pittsburgh, California. Okay, trails are still somewhat open. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a bunch of different. I keep hearing trails are being closed little by little on a daily basis. But if you're going to be getting out there, make sure to follow the rules, 6 feet apart from others, just so that we can be a good example to others. Hi, Dana. Nice to meet you. Orange County. Hey, Orange County over here as well. So it's 5:02. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining today's chat. And we are going to go ahead and I'm going to get started with how the 52 Hike Challenge can transform your life. So I think everyone right now might be feeling uncertainty, might be feeling fear. Maybe hopefully you're doing okay, but when times are uncertain, it creates a lot of fear for most of us because we are a lot of times living in the future or in the past, and we're not really in the present moment. So I just want to start off by reminding you to take this time to really be with yourself in this current moment. If you're okay right now, if you're healthy right now, just focusing on that immediately takes you away from the fear of the future, which we really have no control over right now. What we do have control over is what we do in this present moment and how we manage our anxiety and fear and all of that. So first and foremost, if you're not able to go out and hike where you live, please go out into your neighborhood and grab some, just grab a little walk, take a little walk and be mindful. Take a look at maybe the flowers or the trees. So important to self-care right now. If you can't do that, make sure you're doing things like journaling, reading, educating yourself, just to keep you busy, because, when the mind is not busy when the mind is, in fear, it creates a lot of other things like depression and anxiety and kind of going down that rabbit hole. And I also want you guys to keep commenting and keep being a part of the conversation. So thank you for all of your posts. I see that you guys are coming in and tuning in from all around the US. So anyhow, who knows the 52 Hike Challenge story? If you can raise your hand or put a thumbs up into the comments. If not, let me know as well. I just would like to get an idea of if you know the story behind 52 hikes. So let me start off by saying that it starts in a really dark place, kind of like where we are right now. I basically was going through a divorce, and it was really, really challenging, a really challenging time in my life. I was depressed. My identity was my marriage. And it was a really, really difficult time. And I started doing the inner work, right, to kind of overcome this situation. And then a year and a half later, with my co-founder, I went on a hike. And that hike was the first time I felt hope in a year. And, it was really transformative just to get that fresh air and to be able to take myself out of my problem, which is why I believe right now more than ever, we do need to be outside, even if it's just in our yard, to take us out of, being in a funk in our homes. And so I decided to go on this journey of 52 hikes in 2014, and it was truly transformative. Just being able to disconnect from my problems, from my worries, and, what happened and why specifically today I'm excited to talk to you guys is because when I was climbing peaks, I started tapping into my own inner dialogue. And in the comments, let me know if you can relate to this. Have you ever tapped into your own inner dialogue? I know that when you're on the trails, that voice gets louder. And I never really listened to it before because I was so busy that when I started listening, and especially on the trails, I was like, wow, I'm really mistreating myself. And with every step I took, I kept actually empowering myself and saying, I just need to take one step forward, one more step. And it's like that in life. We need to apply that same concept to everything we do. And it was so empowering when I reached the summit that I felt like overwhelmed in that, that inner dialogue could really hold us back in life. And, who can relate to climbing a peak and feeling super empowered when they're up there and they realize their own 2 feet got them up there? Would love to hear it in the comments and your stories. Ola says she does Mount Baldy 10 steps at a time. I mean, whatever it is that you need to do, what hiking does is it actually allows you to tune into your stillness, but also it gives you the opportunity to empower yourself. And Shireen, I believe, sorry if I butchered your name, says, when she's on the trails, so many of her problems become less important. That's right, because we're in the present moment. Because when you're on the trails, if you're not paying attention, you can easily fall, right? So you have to be focused on what is in front of you. And so that's really this hiking journey. And when I was done with 52 hikes, I had, really overcome myself. And I felt like I had cried a lot and processed a lot. So this stillness, this time in our homes is going to bring up a lot for us because we're having to face our own selves. We can't be busy with work, etc. So this is a prime time to really start tapping into your own voice and then start changing that, So I was really, I had transformed from this journey and I felt really a need to share this with people. And basically that's how 52 came to be. So I want to commend you guys. Thank you for joining me. So we're going to get started with our program, which is Hiking 101. And believe it or not, yesterday we had some people on the talk on Instagram that were seasoned hikers, but everyone tuned in. So I want you guys to put your comments in the chat because you guys are also helping to make everyone a little bit more knowledgeable. We may know a lot, but we can always learn something new. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with our talk for today, which is, basically everything you need to know to be safe when you're out hiking. So what we're going to do and start with is before you get outside, one of the most important things you can do is the first thing before we get into what you need is your mindset. And that's what we've been talking about just now. It's how to shift your mindset. So the first thing before you start something like the 52 hike challenge or just, whether it's a peak or any goal in life, you need to have a mindset of it's called a growth mindset. And this is psychologist Carol Dweck from Stanford actually said that she studied a bunch of different people and what created success was that mindset, the growth mindset, not the mindset of I'm comfortable, I'm just going to stay here, but I'm here and I want to grow. So before you start on any journey, you need to give up the mindset of I can't. You need to have a support system, which is really, really, really important. We're going to get into that a little bit more. You know, if you struggle with, a lot of people struggle with motivation. By the way, if you have any tips on motivation, on how you get out the door, please add them to the comment. I'll read them to the community. But, you know, my co-founder, Phil, who had lost 80 pounds through hiking, he had a really hard time getting outside. And what he would do is he would leave his shoes in front of the door. So it would remind him, like, I just need to get out the door. I just need to just take that one step. And then I know everyone says that getting outside of the house is hard, but once you get out, you usually feel so much better. And I'm sure you guys can relate to that. And so, you know, working through that internal negative dialogue, downloading our hiking log, or maybe, you know, I have our hiking journal here to share with you guys. You know, maybe you want your journal, maybe you want to track your hikes that way. So, let's see what people are saying. Hiking is my meditation, Rebecca says. And Rebecca says she has been trying to accomplish the 52 hike challenge for several years. I just keep trying. Thank you, Rebecca, for sharing. That's really important. Actually, Nicole says her dog is her best motivation. So that's true. I just recently got a dog, and it helps me so much to just know that I need to take him out for a walk. And these days especially, it's been like I've been so needing to be outside, and every day I'm taking him out for like a half an hour. So Ola says, make plans with non-flaky friends. Absolutely. I mean, having a support system, and we're going to talk about how you get that support system when you're starting out. The other thing you need to do is you need to start with physical condition, right? So before you get started, talk to your doctor, make sure you're healthy enough, and get started just by walking. That's why right now is so great, because just walking around your neighborhood, just getting started, just, you know, walking is really great. And practice in your hiking boots, shoes, and pack. Before you start going out and doing anything crazy, make sure that you have the proper shoes. Don't break them in on a crazy hike. I was saying this story yesterday about how I did Mount San Gorgonio and broke in new hiking boots, and it was such a horrible idea, and I was really kicking myself and crying on the trails because it was really painful. So don't do that. And that was when I was a new hiker, you know, so I've learned the hard way, trust me. You're definitely going to want to do exercises that strengthen your muscles, that build endurance, help you with your balancing, because on the trails, you're going to be on a lot of rocky terrain, and definitely work on your cardio. So one of the most important things and tips that the community gave was to start with smaller hikes and increase your mileage slowly. So let's see what you guys have to say so far. Yeah, Shireen said that, you know, she changes her clothes right away after work. Otherwise, she won't get out the door. So yeah, you guys can write down like what it is that motivates you. Okay, sorry. I think I lost you guys for a second there. So yeah, I mean, add your comments on any physical fitness and conditioning that you have done that has been really helpful in the comments. So let's talk about the 10 essentials, you guys. Who knows about the 10 essentials? Please give me a thumbs up and let me know if you know of the 10 essentials, or if you don't know, please say it as well, because if you don't know about the 10 essentials, this is such a great time. I'm going to walk you through them. So let's start with, I'm going to pull up my stuff because I actually pulled stuff out to show you guys. All right, so the first 10 essential before you get out there is you want to actually have a map and compass class ideally. If you can, really try to take a map and compass class. But if you don't, you need to learn how to read a map. For example, I have this book right here, and, you know, it would be a really great idea to understand a map before you go out. I also recommend All Trails. I know a lot of people love All Trails, and we'll talk a little bit more about All Trails. But the great thing about it is if you're in a place with reception, you can actually see the trail map and you can see yourself as long as you have reception. If you don't have reception, you really want to upgrade to their Pro. It allows you to download maps which are available offline. So when you get to the trailhead, you can see your trail and follow along with its GPS. So definitely have navigation. And if you're going to be using your phone, make sure you carry a backup battery if you're going to do a longer hike, something in the backcountry, etc. If you're doing a local hike, It's up to you, but always carry a map and compass, and also remind yourself to put your map in a baggie in case it rains, because you don't want your map to get wet and etc. So the second item that you definitely want to bring is going to be your sun protection, whether that's sunglasses, sunscreen, lip balm. Make sure you carry that. Really important. A hat, etc. You're going to want to bring insulation, so extra clothing. Like I highly recommend you always carry a rain jacket, because your rain jacket is going to protect you against wind. If it rains again, it's going to protect you against hypothermia. If you have to stay, the 10 essentials really are the 10 items that are going to keep you safe at least one night, overnight, if you had to stay in the backcountry for whatever reason. So that's why they're called the 10 essentials, and why you actually always want to carry them with you. The fourth item is your illumination, which is your headlamp or a flashlight. Make sure you always carry one, and make sure to check your batteries. What I do is I usually take one battery out, just so that if the the lamp turns on, then I won't have drained, batteries and stuff. So you may want to implement that, and also keep that in a baggie. So, the fifth item is fire or waterproof matches, etc. Things that you can use in case of an emergency. You're going to want a repair kit and tools. So for me, I carry a knife. I carry, things of that sort, just depending on what I'm doing. But I usually carry like a knife with me. And that's something that I can use. I've used it various times to, cut food, etc., things of that sort. You're going to want to have your nutrition with you, which is things like your bars and your snacks and your lunch. So make sure you plan ahead of time where you're going, how long you're going to be out for, and then plan your food accordingly. Then you have your hydration, which is your water. And I also recommend that you bring an extra jug. So let me show you what I do is I put my water in my bladder, and then I use a jug like this, and I'll put my electrolytes. Especially for super long days, electrolytes are super, super important. So here's my little snack bag. I'm just going to show you real quick. We're getting into the next one, which is the emergency kit, which, well, we talked about it, I think, or we didn't yet, but your emergency kit, super important. You may not ever need it, but what I found is I've had to actually help others using the emergency kit on the trails. So there was a time where, I was on a backpacking trip, and we came across a group that was severely injured, and we had a lot of the items they needed in our emergency kit. And then plan accordingly, like depending on what you're doing, your emergency kit will have, more stuff than other, more items than other, depending on what kind of a trip you're going on. Here's my headlamp, and I have a whistle, and then inside of the whistle, I have, the fire starter, which we talked about. It's in there. So not going to take it out right now. So the last thing is an emergency shelter. So make sure you always carry that with you, whether it's a bivy. In my case, it's one of these emergency blankets. It's really small, and I actually carry it inside of my little emergency kit. So let me know if you guys have anything else. Someone yesterday brought up that they put a little bit of cash and their ID, and I highly recommend that as well. I do want to talk about two additional items which we haven't talked about. This little bag has my toilet paper and a little shovel, because we need to practice responsible restroom breaks. And I always carry a little doggy bag in here so that I can put my trash in there. So please, please, please leave no trace. Please learn how to use the restroom properly. It just is such a great thing to learn. And then if you're able to, I have a spot, but a lot of people love Garmin GPS, but I have this, and it's been okay for me. If you're able to, especially if you do a lot of backcountry, you may want to invest in this. I did the John Muir Trail this year. So when I did the John Muir Trail, we were checking in with this every night. And we can talk more about the John Muir Trail as we continue on with our talk. So let's go ahead and move into the next subject of today, which is let's talk about how you plan hikes. So, that's when, especially when you're getting started, or even if you're a seasoned hiker. I know personally, I do not like planning hikes very much. I did plan the John Muir Trail hike, and that was a lot of work, but I prefer going with other people. And we're going to talk about that right now, actually. So, one of the best things you can do is when you're getting started, like, how do you find trails? That's one of the biggest questions we get. So we wrote down a bunch of different ways that you can find hikes. So obviously there's things like blogs, websites. We talked about All Trails, which is such a popular app. Please add any comments to the feed. Let us know how you find hikes. You can look up on Yelp. You can look up blogs. You can look up websites. For example, there's Washington Trails Association and hikingguide.com. There's SoCal Hiker, Modern Hiker, you name it. You can also buy a book like this one from Modern Hiker. And what I do is I actually go in here and I'll pick a hike and I'll mark it off and I'll say, oh, okay, I'll go check that one out today. You can ask people at REI, for example. You can ask your friends, relatives. You can join a hiking group. There's groups on meetup.com. And soon, 52 Hike Challenge will be leading hikes all around the nation. We're working on our training program. And very soon, our leaders will be leading hikes. So you guys will be able to join your local community. You can also go to your regional parks. Okay, here's a great resource. A lot of times our local parks have docent-led hikes. So I would highly recommend you guys reach out to your local park and find out what services they offer people, and definitely make use of their docent-led hikes, especially if you're new to hiking and you don't really know, how to go out on your own. And you can start just getting comfortable being on the trails. Other things people do is they go on social media and they look up different groups, etc. And then obviously there are other things you can do, like look up your local travel tourism board, and they usually have tips, or at your park they have tips, right? So some people are talking about All Trails, nobodyhikesinla.com. Yeah, there's various resources for all cities, right? And the other thing you can do is you can use, we talked about All Trails already, but just as a reminder, like I said, I have the pro version. So it's great to download your maps before you go. And it's great for helping you to stay on track. Like you can see when you're on the trail, when you're not on the trail. So Shireen said that she began with a hiking group. She has a book, and now she sees people's posts on Facebook. She's done docent-led trails. I mean, that's wonderful. She's done, docent-led trails in Topanga. So super, super helpful to just get started that way. Now, before you go, here's a really, really important thing to think about. Plan before you go. Like, understand elevation gain. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did the John Muir Trail and I did not look up the elevation gain at all. And that was crazy. So it's almost 50,000 feet of elevation gain and loss. So if you're doing 1 mile with 1,000 feet of elevation gain versus, a mile with 50 feet of elevation gain, huge difference, especially when you're getting started. So get familiar with what that means. Start slow, with lower level elevation gain hikes, and then work your way up. Because the last thing you want to do is, go on this crazy hard hike and then now you're discouraged because you feel like this is too hard. I don't want to do this anymore. So, you definitely want to, stick to trails that are going to be a little bit more beginner and intermediate level, and then work your way up. Because I think what happens a lot of times is we see all these people doing all these peaks and mountains and whatever, and then we start comparing ourselves, and we all have to start somewhere. You can't go from being a non-hiker to all of a sudden climbing Mount Everest, right? There's a lot of steps in between. And so be gentle with yourself and don't compare yourself to anyone else. This is your own journey of self-discovery, of peace, of whatever it is that you're trying to gain from this. So make it your own journey. Don't compare yourself, and definitely take your time and know you have if you do the 52 hike challenge, you have 52 hikes to get to that goal, and create mini steps and goals in between. So now that we've talked about that, one of the most important things that we can do as a hiker is to meet friends who can hike with us, to create that community for ourselves. And sometimes that means we have to step out of our comfort zone. It means we go to an REI class. It means we go to a meetup that 52 hike challenge or any other organization might be hosting, because people that want to hike are going to be there. And so that's one of the biggest things you can do is, involve your friends, involve your family, ask people or tell them, hey, I'm going to go hiking. Do you want to go? Invite people. Let me know what you guys, do in order, or what you did to get friends who are hikers, because I think that that's really important. And actually on our website, if you go to 52hikechallenge.com, we have our chapters listed. We also have a list of hiking groups that have listed themselves on the website. So that might be helpful. And, I'm not going to say that you shouldn't go out on your own, but I will say that if you're going to go out on your own, make sure that you leave a plan behind, that you let someone know when you step foot on the trail before you lose reception, when they can expect you back, etc. So take this precaution, the steps to be safe. And I would highly recommend you do start with a group and with people. And then if you feel comfortable enough, then you get started on your own. Let's see what you guys have commented. Michael says there's also the 6-pack of peaks challenge in some areas. Yeah, there are the 6-pack of peaks, and that's something great to work towards, especially when you're getting started. But remember, work your way up slowly and then take the classes you need, get the education you need to be safe out there. For example, I would never recommend people do something like the 6-pack of peaks in the winter when there is snow on the trail and it's dangerous conditions. If you have not done mountaineering, 6-pack of peaks is great in the time that the appropriate weather. Like, you also don't want to do the 6-pack of peaks when it's extremely hot, because you can get dehydrated and sick, and that's a problem, right? So be mindful that the mountains will always be there. Be mindful that you're going to get to your goal. Just keep working towards it little by little, but educate yourself, take the classes you need. And if you're going to go in the snow, make sure you take the snow and mountaineering courses. So let's see, we have All Trails has a great elevation gain schedule. Absolutely. And then Nicole said she started a hiking group with dogs. That's amazing. So, guys, I wanted to talking about education. We were talking about the map and compass. Again, I can't stress enough how important it is to learn how to use a map and compass when you can. I've taken a course through a group called WTC. It's through the Sierra Club, and that class happens like once a year. Unfortunately, this year it was canceled because of what's going on, but they do so many things to teach you, like navigation. They do a snow travel course. They do rock climbing. It's got a lot of different things that help strengthen you just in your outdoors. I would call it like education, right? Like, you're learning all these things, and the leaders are amazing. So that's through the Sierra Club. The day before your hike, make sure that one of the most important things you can do is check the weather, because you may have checked it a week ago and it was fine, but then the night before, you just never know. I know in Colorado, there's a huge potential for thunder and lightning storms in the afternoons. And so you absolutely need to understand what's going to happen with the weather, because the last thing you want is to be on top of a peak and be stuck in a lightning or a thunderstorm. So one of the most important things that you can do to be safe is to check the weather the night before. And again, same thing as what I said with the snow. If the weather is not favorable, stay home, and the mountain will always be there. Your life is not worth risking over a photo or, ego, okay? Because that's actually what it is. So just be safe. That's what we want most, more than anything. So Other things you can do to plan your hikes is you can download our 52 hike challenge log if you're doing our 52 hike challenge. And even if you aren't, you could still go on our resources page, download the log, and keep track of your hikes. See how many hikes you go on for the year. Like I said, we have our journal, which also has, a breakdown of not only, it has quotes, but it also has a place for your hike number, all of that good stuff. Putting together a wish list of hikes you're going to go on and dates you're going to complete it by. Adding it to your actual calendar is super important to help keep you accountable. The other thing you can do is leave your pack, right? Leave your pack ready to go. Leave it in your car with all your 10 essentials. Have your shoes in your car because you never know. You might want to go for a hike after work. And, one of the most important things you can do is just get out there, just get started, just start hiking. So I would love to open this up, just so you guys know, Hiking 102 is next week, and we're going to be talking about clothing and other gear. So today we just talked about the basics of how to get started getting outside. Please comment if you have questions, any comments, or you want to add your tips relating to the beginner level of hiking. While we do that, I want to share one other tip that I have. And for some reason we were talking about it yesterday, but I carry trekking poles, and these are great because they're really small. They're super tiny. They're by Black Diamond. But what I do is I actually have duct tape here. And remember, we were talking about the 10 essentials. It's to have repair kit and tools. So this is one way that I have my duct tape taped onto my trekking pole. And that way, if I ever, I've seen people's shoe soles fall out, and so I could help them, right? So a lot of times it is for us, but sometimes we have to help others on the trails. And another thing that I want to just reiterate is to have electrolytes with you. I carry electrolytes because I never know when I'm going to get dehydrated. And this could make the difference between having a great hike and then having a horrible hike because you have a headache and you need electrolytes. So remember when you're doing long hikes to carry your electrolytes. Okay, so Moises says, peaks are at a different level of hiking. Start with smaller hikes to build endurance and strength. Absolutely. Like I was saying earlier, we all have to start somewhere. We're not going to go from, being a beginner to an expert level. So please, 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 taking classes like this, anything you can do to get started with that education is really important. And then just get started. 1 mile hike, 2 mile hikes, 3 mile hikes, etc. It's going to make a huge difference, and it's going to allow you to go in stages and then be comfortable and confident. And then also at the same time, don't be afraid to push yourself a little bit safely, right? Don't be afraid to, if let's say you've done a 3 mile hike and you want to try a 5 mile hike, just try it, right? What's the worst that can happen? You'll know what the trail what the trail conditions are, and you'll know what you need to prepare for the next hike if you don't make it, right? So just get started and try it one step at a time. Shireen wants to know favorite trail snacks for the trails. I actually really like bars. So I actually have been really into these bars. These are the Sands bars, which we're going to talk about at the end. These Bob Red Mill bars. I actually really stick to bars on the trail. I'm not really super fun. But when I did the John Muir Trail, I really craved candy here and there. It was so strenuous. So I don't carry candy usually. I like bringing a sandwich. That's my favorite thing. I'm sure everyone can relate to lunch on the trail. For me, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to take that break up at a point and to be able to look out and see. So why don't you guys share your favorite snacks? And then Dawn says, tell people where you are going and then they will ask about it. They can hold you accountable. Yeah, absolutely. So as I was saying, really important to have an accountability group and way that you stay accountable while you're doing the challenge. So I have 2 more slides, but feel free to add any other comments, any other tips. So number 1, don't be afraid to be slow. If you're going to join a hiking group, you have to be mindful. I would stick to beginner hikes if you're new, But I also feel like let the leader know that you're going to be slower and, but don't be afraid to be slow. You're here on your own journey, and we're all on different levels of how fast we go, etc. Make sure to stay on established trails. Super, super important, especially when you're just getting started, because the last thing you want to do is go in the backcountry and then get lost. Pay attention to your intuition, your instincts and surroundings. If you feel something is wrong, it's probably better for you to turn around and just follow your intuition. Especially, I know a lot of times when people go on their own, this is something to be aware of. Like I said, and what someone said earlier, Dawn said earlier is, make sure to let someone know where you're going. And make sure you plan ahead. Make sure you prepare yourself accurately with your clothing. Like I said, that's why it's so important to check the weather the night before. There's been people here in Southern California that have gone out in snow in shorts and, a small shirt, and then, they have issues. So prepare yourself. Check the weather. Make sure to get educated. And then also, we haven't talked about leave no trace. So important, you guys. You can go on their website and you can actually take an awareness class for free. But, just remember, pack it in, pack it out. Please don't leave your dog poop on the side of the trail. Please, please. And don't think like, I'm going to come back and pick it up, because we all know that never happens. So bring an extra doggy bag if you need to put back in your backpack, whatever. But also don't leave your things like your snacks behind, or, your orange peels, because guess what? It looks like trash. And yes, it may disintegrate, but it takes a long time. It actually takes months sometimes. And so people see that, they're like, I could just leave my peel here. And no, like, please, 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 if you're going to take it on the trail, pack it out. On the John Muir Trail, I had a 40-pound pack. I had to carry everything in and out, everything. So please practice leave no trace. Leave any other tips I'm going to read in a few moments. Let's see what you guys have to say. Gordon said, carry a water purifier or filter if you are doing longer day hikes with lakes or streams. Absolutely. I mean, we didn't really get into water filtration, but if you are going for an overnight, absolutely bring a water purifier. If you feel like you're going for a really long day and you want to have a backup plan, absolutely bring a water purifier. Like there's the LifeStraw filter, or there's the Sawyer filter. Sawyer used to be our sponsor, so love them. They're great. And they have a really, really small one, and it's really, really easy to put in your emergency kit, etc. And just be safe out there. And Ola loves to bring almonds, bars, boiled eggs. I think boiled eggs are great. Peanut butter and apples. Love it. Fabulous. Moises said that when his friends and he hike, he has the new slow guy lead the way. Yeah, that's a great way to actually practice being comfortable. And hopefully your leader is someone that is mindful and can also help you feel comfortable as well. So we're almost done. Thank you guys for staying and sticking around this long. It's been awesome to share all this wealth of information with you guys, and everyone who's commented. I really appreciate it. So to close it out, your steps for success. Make sure to set some sort of a goal for yourself, because it's too easy to say, yeah, I'm going to go hiking. But if you have no goal, there's no real incentive. So setting a goal like taking the 52 hike challenge is amazing. And one thing that I didn't talk about were that we offer 6 different challenges, and I'll just really quickly run you through them. We have the regular original series, 52 hikes. They could be the same ones over and over again. You could walk a mile in your neighborhood and count it, because we just want you to get started. Then there's the adventure series, which we have a list of tasks to do, including a cleanup hike. There's go on a sunset or sunrise hike. There's different tasks. Then there's the explorer series, which is just get out and hike one different trail every single time. So it's a little bit more challenging unless you have a park like I have here. There's a park that has like 30 trails. So I could essentially do 30 of the hikes there. As long as I don't repeat the trail, I'm good. And then we have this year, new for the challenge, we have our pet series. So it's take your dog on a dog-friendly hike. Please practice leave no trace. So that's the pet series. And we have our kids series. And I don't know if you guys know, but we've just launched a coronavirus page to help you guys while we're all kind of navigating through this. But if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, go to our website, you'll see a little header on top. We are giving away our kids book, a section of it for free. And that book is really great because it has a list of all the 52 activities we've created for little kids. So please share that with your friends and family because we want to keep our kids, healthy and, maybe they can't go for a hike, but they can still do these activities in their own backyard. So we have a kids series. And lastly, we have our National Parks series, which is really to help people to have and live a life of adventure, to continue getting out for the rest of their lives, to see as many national gems. And that includes national parks all around the world. It includes historic national, anything that's in the national park designation. It doesn't have to be a park. It could be, it's a nationally designated space. So if you go out and hike 52 of those, you can go ahead and say, I did it. I did that challenge. And so we just have so many beautiful gems in our own country, and it blows me away. I've been to some and just it blows me away. So don't forget to get the proper gear. Like I said, we've talked about the 10 essentials today. We've talked about how to plan hikes. And next week is going to be the gear 101, which is where we're going to get into the clothing and the backpack and all of that. The number 3 most important thing is surround yourself with support, guidance. Don't forget to make new friends. Be open to new friends. You never know what's going to come from that. Sierra Club is another great resource if you don't have a community, but locally they may have hikes that you can join. I highly recommend you check them out. Have some form of accountability. And 3 more things. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to try the challenge. Like someone said earlier, she's tried the challenge many times and she hasn't completed it, but she keeps trying. And you know what? We've had people that have tried the challenge 3 times before they completed it. And that blows me away. Like, it's amazing. Just keep trying. It's better than not hiking at all. It's better than not being active at all. So, keep trying. And don't forget that, it's okay to be afraid of pushing yourself, but safely push yourself to try something new, to go that extra mile and just see what happens. You can always turn around. Don't forget to celebrate yourself. We are constantly putting ourselves down. I didn't do this right. Oh, I didn't reach that peak. What about what you are doing right? Especially now more than ever, we really need to celebrate ourselves. We need to love on ourselves. We need to give ourselves that encouragement, be that loving parent that we maybe didn't have. So take this time to celebrate yourself. When you get out of the house and you walk around your neighborhood, if you did your mile, if you weren't feeling like going outside and you still did, if you were depressed and you still went out and got some fresh air, give yourself and celebrate yourself. Start today. Start really, really, really loving yourself, because the more we can love ourselves, the more we can love others and be compassionate. And that's what we're all about here at 52. The message is to be kind and compassionate to others and to ourselves. So the last one is pay it forward. Bring someone new on the trails. Tell someone else about the 52 hike challenge. Give someone else the knowledge that you have. And remember, we all started somewhere where we weren't born experts. So I'm going to leave the comments open just for a few more moments. And see if, Ola says, it took her 5 times, times to summit San Gorgonio. And San Gorgonio is a beast. I mean, that mountain broke me. And that's the mountain I tried breaking in my hiking boots. So it was pretty harsh. So unless you guys have any other comments, I'm going to close out today's talk. If you guys feel inclined, we do have a patch sale going on. We have some ugly patches. They came to us. They kind of had some little issues. And every order right now is coming to you with a soon to expire bar. So if you feel so inclined to support us, we also have, a donation link. It's in our newsletter or on our Instagram link. Feel free to. We do have a team here. We're trying to, I'm trying to hope that we don't have to make any changes, but you know what? We're just doing what we need to do, and all good. So anyways, sharing the challenge, whatever you can do to spread the word, and just keep looking back for the next classes. Tomorrow, you guys, on Instagram Live, Mandy, who's on the team here at 52, she's going to be doing a yoga class. So if you've never done yoga, this is a great time to start. Join us tomorrow on Instagram Live at 9:30 a.m. PST. So thank you guys. Oh my gosh. I loved spending time with you guys. And next week, don't forget, we're going to do hiking 102, which is going to be all about gear. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good night. Stay blessed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.